Hello everyone and welcome back to another Batman miniature game 3rd edition battle report for the channel. Today we have 350 rep of the Cobra Cult Yuga going up against 350 rep of a Batman crew on the table layout you can see before you. So without further ado, we're just going to jump straight in and take a look at the two sides. So the nice thing about the Cobra Cult is that you don't have to remember any funding if you take certain layouts, because their 1500 of funding is taken up by the guns and people present in the list, so no additional add-ons at all. Being led by Jeffrey, the unstoppable Jeffrey of course, the Cobra leader, and being joined by free agent Raptor, who I think he has some funding associated with him, Corval's, and also the Cobra Cult split affiliation on him. We have the Cobra Bestowed, the gentleman in the black robe. We have the Nagus at the back there, who has hidden now. If you have his old card, keep in mind it's out of date. We have the Hazard Trooper with the assault rifle, the double blood assault rifle with a red dot as well, I think. We have two, what are these? Are these Troopers 1 or Trooper 2? They are, the card is out of range. They are Lancehead 2, not Trooper, sorry, it's Hazard Trooper and Lanceheads. Two Lancehead 2s, which are the ones with the carbine single blood 5-shot, and then one Lancehead 1, which is the guy with the knife. Basically just point filling at the end there. So they'll be Team Yellow this time with the yellow Audacity markers. And now let's go take a look at the Batman crew. So just 6 models in the Batman crew, being led by the Red Rain Batman, aka Vampire Batman. He will not be starting on the table, he joins the table via Shadowed Nightmare. But while he's not on the table, his influence, his inspire radius is the entire table. So everyone will be inspired as long as he's not on the table. But you want him on there fairly quickly, I guess, because he is very powerful. And it's going to be very hard for the Cobra Cult to avoid him, because they really need to put down a lot of suspect markers. So Vampire Batman's going to take use of that and come and eat them early. Being joined by Year 1 Commissioner, well not Commissioner Gordon, Jim Gordon prior to him being Commissioner. We have Damien here as well, who I think is a vampire in a recent like Elseworlds story, so it kind of fits the theme. Harvey Bullock and Sierra at the back there. Upgrades wise, Batman has the enhanced Batsuit for +1 health. Damien has handcuffs. Sierra has a radio. Did I say Officer Martinez? I think I don't think I did actually. Officer Martinez from the new Star set. Harvey has a bunch of upgrades again, because him with a bunch of upgrades I feel like works pretty well. He's got a radio, he's got a helmet to give him hardened, and he has sergeant training, which makes sense because he's a sergeant. So that gives him the order command. So he's got order. The Year 1 Gordon just has coordination as per, so you can tell cops to do stuff. And hopefully it should work out really well, and they're going to be Team Red. So we are all set up and good to go. The Batman crew is to your left and the Cobra Cult is to your right. Cobra Cult is taking first activation, and because of a difference in numbers, the Batman crew has a couple of passes that they could potentially use depending on what they want to do. Red Rain Batman is not on the table, as previously explained. He comes on the table via Shadowed Nightmare. Both sides had a hidden model as well, and there's one Phase 2 card being put into place, so let's just look at that real quick. It is Ritual by the Cobra Cult. Have a friendly suspect within 6 inches of 3 other friendly suspects, so they basically just have to form like a star shape. When scored, remove 2 of them, but it doesn't score until the end of the turn, so there is plenty of opportunity to interrupt that. But that also means putting down a lot of suspect markers, which means a vampire will come and say hello to them. But that's in play anyway. The Cobra Cult, the Cobra Bestowed is here. One of the Lancehead 2s is there next to Jeffrey. There's Lancehead 1, the other Lancehead 2, the Hazard Trooper, Raptor, and then the Nagus has hidden now on his updated card in the app. So he just went a little bit further forwards there, and he has Audacity, Raptor does, Hazard Trooper does, and of course Jeffrey does. And Jeffrey is in base to base with a sewer marker as well. Harvey Bullock has hidden for the Batman crew. He has deployed up here on this roof next to sewer grain, touching the sewer grain. Gordon is down here with Audacity next to Officer Martinez. Damien's over here with Audacity, and Sierra is on the edge there with Audacity, and Red Rain Batman has the other Audacity marker for them, because you can issue them an Audacity marker if they're off the table thanks to Shadowed Nightmare. Same as the new Nightwing, etc, etc. With that, I think we're ready to jump in, see how this plays out. Let's get started. So first activation of the game was the Lancehead that for some reason brought a knife to a gunfight. He moved up, didn't have Audacity, but used that free inspire from Jeffrey the Terrible down here. I don't even remember his actual name anymore, he's just Jeffrey. And put down a suspect marker, just a normal suspect marker, and Vampire Batman chose not to come in yet. Well, we're staying over this side of the table as one of the passes was used. So Lancehead 2, the one at the north of the table here, activated, also without Audacity, but within 8 of Jeffrey. Double checked his card, he's just called Cobra, but, you know, his real name is Jeffrey something or other. He moved up, and with that free Inspire, also put down a suspect marker, again, just working towards the ritual, and again, Vampire Batman decided now is not the time. Still too many guns that haven't activated. The Batman crew decided to activate, and it was Officer Martinez who moved 8 inches around the corner here, right on the edge of a table. Because Vampire Batman isn't on the table, the entire table is inspired by him, so he used that Inspire to put down a suspect marker, and you'll notice that 3 next to him, that's because Wait for Backup was played. Might have been worth holding on to potentially respawn him later, but it's being played now. Play during an activation of a friendly model with the Cult trait, choose a board edge, obviously this one. Roll 1d6 plus 1, a 2 got rolled, so that's why it's a 3. And then you reduce it at the end of each subsequent activation. If it hits 0 and he's still within 4 of the chosen edge and not KO'd or dead, it'll score for 2. Next activation for the Cobra Cult was the Cobra Bestowed, also without Audacity, also within range of Jeffrey. Moved up and put down another suspect marker, working towards that ritual. Also the second one placed within 8 of Jeffrey, so that's 2 faith points in total for him now. Lieutenant Gordon activated with Audacity, acting on his own. He moved up, and actually, you know what, he does have a free Inspire because he is a henchman, so he actually still could do another tactical action. He could shoot at the Cobra Bestowed. It'd only be 1 die, but he can still do it. But let's cover what he actually did. He moved up, put down a suspect marker that has become a snitch, a very carefully measured movement to make sure, 1, he's out of 4 of the light. 2, the Nagus under here can't get to the suspect marker, and also Raptor with his back claw. Although actually, the Nagus probably could get close enough to cancel the snitch scoring, although it would put him in the threat radius of Damien. But yeah, keeping out of range of Raptor as well if he backclawed over, that was the primary thing. But yeah, he still has a tactical action because he had a free Inspire because of Batman not being on the table yet. So he might as well shoot his gun. In fact, we can just do that real quick. It's just 1 normal die because it's normally 2 and he'll lose 2 for moving. He'll shoot at the Nagus, who is defense. Where is his card? He is defense. Sorry, not the Nagus, the Cobra Bestowed. Defense 3. Nope, okay, fair enough. The final of the Lance Heads activated and played for resource points, or 2 resource points, Confusion. During a friendly model's activation, target another friendly model to move them up to 3 inches. The Hazard Trooper was moved forwards 3 inches. For his actual turn, made use of Jeffrey's Inspire, moved up and put down a suspect marker. So there is a line of 4. But to make the ritual happen, 1 has to be within 6 of 3, so it's down to the Hazard Trooper or the Nagus to make that possible. And once again, the Red Rain Batman did not appear on the table. Sierra activated one of the elite SWAT troops, moved up to the edge of the table there and put down a suspect marker. Did forget to mention though that last activation, Wait for Backup, has ticked down with Officer Martinez and has scored, so that's the first card scored by either side in the game. Jeffrey, Destroyer of Worlds, activated for the Cobra Cult. Well, it's his cult really, I guess. Moved up his 10 inches in a straight line, essentially, and is just charging down the street there. He's amongst his suspect markers. He could have ordered with a special action, but everyone's put down a suspect marker near him, so there's no room for another one. Harvey Bullock activated, and he's quite happy sipping coffee and eating donuts on the roof up there, so he stayed in base to base with that sewer marker, but did put down a suspect marker. Didn't do anything else. The Cobra Hazard Trooper activated next, and they only moved 6 inches, so that's also why he was boosted with Confusion as a resource earlier on. His 6 inches after being moved forwards earlier got him to there, but that does actually put him within range to see Gordon. He's got medium range on his gun, but he can actually see Gordon without the night, because it's within 12. It's an awkward angle, but it does seem like there's a ladder in front of the Nagus there. Part of the girder there kind of obscures his view, so although it's an assault gun, so he doesn't lose any dice from moving and firing at the cost of -1 to hit instead. He is losing a die to cover, and Gordon has a bulletproof vest, so he lost 2 to that. So all said and done, he was only rolling 2 dice. One of them did get the 5 required, got Gordon for 2 blood, and as a result was able to score, sacrifice a friendly model within 4 inches of a friendly suspect marker, of which he's surrounded basically. Inflicts at least 1 damage, which indeed he did. So Gordon is the first person on the table to be damaged. That's the first card for the Cobra Cult to be scored. And now it's back over to Damien, or... well, it has to be Damien. Yeah, because Batman isn't on the table yet. So Damien made use of his back claw, shot across onto the scaffolding, put down a suspect marker, and that spawned his father. The vampire has descended right down there into base to base with the Hazard Trooper to take out a big threat is the plan. He has Audacity issued to him already, he can get a turn, and when he descends, enemy models of the henchman rank within 6, actually might also catch him too, suffer enervating 1, so that's the Nagus, the Hazard Trooper, and the Lancehead with the knife there. Bit of an awkward angle to get, but the Nagus activated for the Cobra Cult, second last activation for them, and he moved 8 inches through the scaffolding over to here and put down a suspect marker, trying to set up that ritual again due to some misplacements and poor measurements earlier, because he should have been able to do it, but unfortunately not enough room from where he was and where he can get to. The two flanked suspect markers there and there, they're slightly too far apart and they need to be placed slightly differently, so trying to set up the ritual somewhere else basically. Batman could easily stop it from happening if he's willing to do that instead of taking out the Hazard Trooper, so I guess we'll see what he wants to do. Well, it was time for the vampire to strike. Batman, Red Rain Batman, does blood stun, he uses claws, and he creates a lovely little aura, which is what makes him so scary, of 8 inches, where any enemies within 8 inches of him have -1 attack and defense rolls and can't use dodge, which is really nice. And he attacked the Hazard Trooper, who did not effort, although the Hazard Trooper is actually pretty beefy. Vampire Batman efforted twice, all said and done, got through with 6 hits, his attack 5, defense 5, strength 2+. He did 6 blood, 6 stun, although hilariously that doesn't actually kill the Hazard Trooper. The Hazard Trooper has 7 endurance, so he's alive on 1 health, but he is unconscious because he only has 6 willpower. So he's knocked out, and then Vampire Batman activated Fly and hopped up onto the scaffolding just to pick his next victim for next turn. Now he did effort twice, but he did blood damage, so one of that instantly heals because he's a vampire. And the other one, well, that will hopefully heal just in the recount phase. But first, we have Raptor, who will be the last one rather, to activate for the turn. So in order to make the ritual card score, all Raptor really could do is rush over here and put down a assessment marker just outside of 4 of the 3 of these, but obviously within 6. So that meets the criteria for ritual. We'll cover that in the scoring phase in a second, but you have to remove 2 of the assessment markers used to score the card. We're just going to do that right now. It's going to be that one, and it's probably going to be the one Raptor put down. So at the end of battle round 1, Cobra is taking, by which I mean Jeffrey, is taking 3 stun damage from unused faith points. He'll heal one of those back, but still, he's starting off on the back foot, especially if he's about to get jumped by a vampire. No additional phase 4 cards being played. The snitch in play for the Batman crew scores for 3, and that is countered, as just discussed, by the ritual, also scoring for 3 right there. So with that, we can jump in to battle round 2. So here is how the table is looking at the top of battle round 2. Did forget to mention, but obviously the Hazard Trooper did not wake up. He almost did, but did not make it. There is a phase 1 and phase 2 card being played both by the Cobra Cult to get turn 2 starts. Let's cover those first. Also, Cobra Cult did take first activation again in the priority role. They're playing a Die Hard, and this is an interesting one because who's safe from Vampire Batman? And the answer really is no one, because he has Fly and he can do it every turn. But then it became like, who's least likely to die that isn't Jeffrey, because you can't play it on your boss. And it's Raptor. So it's played on Raptor. Good luck, Raptor. And then another ritual for a phase 2 card. Same as before. No cards being played by the Batman crew, so all that remains is just to quickly show who has Audacity. Bullock and Martinez do not. Vampire Batman does, Damien does, Sierra on the corner there does, and down in here Gordon does. For the Cobra Cult, Jeffrey does, the Cobra Bestowed does, Raptor does, and so does the Nagus. So with that, we can get started with the second round. Well, it was Raptor who got the turn started because he's going to try and make Vampire Batman work for it. He put down a assessment marker exactly where it was last time, and then he used his back claw, because he didn't use it the other time, to give him 16 inches of total movement, and he shot all the way into the Batman deployment zone. And he is touching that sewer grating there. Now, Vampire Batman can still catch him there, because with his Fly, I think he has like 18, maybe 20 inches of movement, so he can basically cover the whole table from being where he is. So he can reach him. It's just, is he wanting to displace himself over here to do that? I guess we'll see. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to see what Vampire Batman does, because Damien activated first. He just kind of climbed down the scaffolding on the ladders there. His 10 inches of movement more than covered it. He went into base to base with the Hazard Trooper and arrested them using the handcuffs he was given from funding. Scoring, get them off the streets. So that was his movement action, and his special action. For his tactical action, he then chucked batarangs at this poor Lancehead 2. They only are like 4 endurance, 4 willpower, and got him with all 3 for 6, so he is unconscious. The Cobra Bestowed was the next up for the Cobra Cult to activate. He moves 10 inches. he got into position in front of Damien where the Hazard Trooper had been and attacked him. He's only attacked 2, so he efforted 3 times. Damien's saving his efforts for if Jeffrey goes after him, so he didn't. He's only doing single blood, but he does poison and has caustics. That means if the strength die fails, it still does 1 blood anyway. But that's the only dice that actually got through in the end, and that's saying something because he's strength 5+. So only the strength die got through against Damien. 1 blood to him, but it did also poison him. Worth noting, in the app, the Cobra Bestowed has been updated to have a special action now, where he can suck the poison out of a target within 4 inches, I think. Can't quite remember the range. But it lets you do a little bit of deck manipulation where you draw 3, keep 1, discard the other 2. Not doing that here, because Damien is needing to be poisoned, let's say. So he's not doing it here, but that is just something new he's been given in the app. So again, if you have an old card, it won't be on there. Bit of an odd activation, but Lieutenant Gordon activated and moved up into base to base with the suspect marker that was behind Jeffrey and revealed it using a free manipulate provided to him by Batman being within 8 when he activated, which he was, because he was basically in front of that blue van there. So then for his actual tactical action, he used the last of his ammo, I think he only has 2 loads of ammo, to shoot into this lancehead here. I think they're only defense 2, got him once for 1 blood, 1 stun, because he moved and fired. And, oh yeah, for revealing that suspect marker that had been behind Jeffrey, I actually met the criteria, ironically I guess, for scoring Harvey Bullock's unique card. Reveal an enemy suspect marker at least 6 inches away from any of your models with the cop trait, not counting the one who's doing it. The only models within 6 inches of him is Damien and Batman, neither of them are cops. Jeffrey activated and went after Gordon, not Damien, because he used 1 faith on the faith cost for dropping the card, Awakening, which means his next attack has poison, which presumably applies the poison in the same moment at which it applies damage. The order of operations they're not 100% sure of, but there was an alternative to how this played out, which also would have scored a card worth the same thing, so probably it doesn't really matter going forwards. Either way though, Gordon efforted 3 times, so did Jeffrey, so it just came down to his 5 dice plus the strength die with his double blood sharp sword. He only managed to get 2 hits through. The roll wasn't that great considering how normally killy he is, but that was enough with the 2 damage he took earlier that Gordon is dead, which again presumably means it applies the poison at the same time in which it kills him, so an Awakening can be played for the scoring condition. An enemy model within 8 of another friendly model an enemy model within 8 of a friendly model is removed as a casualty while suffering poison, and obviously Gordon was, because they were right next to each other. So Red Rain, Vampire Batman activated, and it might not be as bombastic as you were potentially expecting, and that is also given Jeffrey is building up that stun damage on himself from unused faith in turn 1 and then going all in on Gordon. Incidentally, forgot, he's obviously within the aura of Batman, so he should have been -1 to his attack rolls against Gordon. Too late to retcon it now, but that was a mistake, and it might have made a difference. Either way, Vampire Batman moved in to attack Jeffrey, efforted it 3 times, and it's attack 5 going up against defense 5, with defense rolls being -1 as well, but still he managed to get a 6 and block the only 1 other hit besides the strength die, so only the strength die got through on a 2+ for 1 blood, 1 stun, so not great. That could just be a load of, well again, attack 5 against defense 5 on both sides more or less, so it could just be them slapping each other for the rest of the time unless one of them decides to go do something more useful. The Lancehead with the knife, no audacity, activated for the Cobra Cult, but was within 8 of Jeffrey. So he put down a suspect marker where one had been before, and then just moved through the scaffolding behind his boss right there. Of the 3 activations left for the Batman crew, Harvey Bullock activated. Without audacity, he just manipulated the sewer grating, and being a little brave, he just popped out the ground there, donut and coffee in hand, watching a vampire fight a cult leader named Jeffrey. The Nagus activated for Cobra Cult and moved up down here. Using his radio to get a free inspired manipulate from Jeffrey, he put down a suspect marker, and then he is immediately picking it back up for his actual tactical action to turn it into viable commodities, so he's holding on to the loot. So minding their own business over there on the side of the table, Sierra activated, hopped the wall for a little bit of impaired movement, has 10 inches also, more than enough, and just got outside of 4 of the other suspect marker and put down a snitch for the turn. So that is now in play, they're just minding their own business, scoring points. Last activation for the second round for the Cobra Cult. This Lancehead here decided to shoot into Harvey because there's not really any point in shooting into the Vampire Batman, although he was being affected by his influence regardless, and as a result only 2 hits got through against Harvey. And nothing particularly bombastic about the final Batman activation of the turn. Officer Martinez, who had been there next to the suspect marker without audacity, simply moved along here. Now, he doesn't actually have a radio. It's Sierra that has the radio and Bullock. So I think he put that down without audacity in turn one, which is a mistake. It wasn't a snitch, I don't think, so it didn't score anything because it was Gordon who put down the snitch. So it doesn't really matter, but yeah, he doesn't have a radio, so he didn't do anything else. So then, battle round 2, both sides have lost someone, and the unconscious Lancehead, who needed to roll 4 under and 2 dice, did not wake up. So he's staying unconscious as we go into round 3. Cards in play for the Batman crew. The snitch scores that Sierra put down at the top of your screen there. Die Hard scores for the Cobra Cult because Raptor was unharmed. And the Ritual scores because the same suspect markers essentially got put down, and 2 of those will be gone. Not sure which yet, but 2 of those will be gone when the next turn begins. The loot stays in play with the Nagus holding on to it. And yeah, I think that covers everything. Oh, you know what? Damien's poison check real quick. Totally forgot about that. 7, he actually took 1. Okay, he took 1 more blood, so he's got 3 left. So we're at the top of turn 3, the penultimate round, and once again the Cobra Cult have well not stolen, they've retained first activation. They've managed to take it every time with just a better roll, just flat out better by a huge amount. No amount of passes is going to change anything. Though the passes are really, well, no, they still are. They've got 1 if they wanted to do it. Either way though, there's 2 phase 2 cards being played by the Cobra Cult. The Great Plan. At the end of a turn, they have to have more friendly suspects than enemy suspects within 8 of any of the corners of the table. And then they played Jeffrey's Unique, the Viral Bomb. Seen it every time, basically. The Cobra's been on the table. You put it within 4 inches of the centre of the table. It's under there. Then you put 3 event markers within 8, or is it 6? Within 8. There's 1 there. 1 in front of that car as well. And the other one is on the scaffolding right there. That's the chances to disarm it. End of the turn, everyone within 8 inches takes 2 blood damage, friend or foe, but for it to score, at least 1 enemy has to get caught in it. So those are in play along with the loot still in play for them. Audacity markers wise for the Batman crew. Martinez has it, Batman has it, Damien has it, and Sierra has it. For the Cobra Cult, Jeffrey, this Lancehead, the Nagus, and Raptor. And with that, let's jump in. So the turn got started with Jeffrey trying to be all sneaky. He ignored Batman, ran over here next to Damien with the hopes of using his reinforced gloves, which he does have. It's not just a double blood sword he's got, to knock Damien out, which means he would be guaranteed to get caught by the Cobra Bomb explosion. Unfortunately, his attack roll was okay. He's not Unarmed Master, what's it called? Not Weapon Master. Master Fire, that's the one, which is +1, so it negates the -1 from Batman, so he was doing okay, but Damien's defense roll was great. Rolled 3 5s. So he only took 1 hit, all said and done, 2 stun. And that's his first stun damage. He's got blood damage. So he is conscious and will be able to get away, assuming he does something quickly. Well, seeing that the plan is definitely knock out Damien, Damien activated and moved away from the Viral Bomb. Didn't actually measure that he is out of range of it exploding, but either way he got where he wanted to be. He arrested the unconscious Lancehead that didn't wake up. He did pass his poison roll incidentally. I don't think I covered that in the recap. But yeah, he scored yet another, get them off the streets. He's arresting more people than the cops do. Then he chucked his last load of batarangs, yep, he only has 2 loads, into the back of the Cobra bestowed head, his head, and got him twice. Knocked him out thanks to the stun damage he already had on him from the efforts against Damien. So the Cobra bestowed is not getting a turn. The Lancehead with the knife, who as it turns out is a lot more survivable than the ones with the guns because he's targeted less, activated without audacity but next to Jeffrey. He moved behind the van there to put down a suspect marker specifically because it's within 6 inches of Vampire Batman, Red Rain Batman, who can't see him. So that scores a can be anyone that is not quite in focus. There we go. A friendly model, no enemy model can draw line of sight to, places the suspect marker within 6 of an enemy model. Red Rain Batman activated and moved down here. I don't think he used fly, but I think he's 10 inches base, so that should be enough, but he didn't do a special action, so he could have flown if need be, just to get out of range 8 of the bomb in that corner there. And then he committed felonious assault against the poor Lancehead here. Defense 2, 4-4 model. Yeah, they're very dead. Knockout, casualty, whatever you want to pick. Scored off of that, and I'm feeling weird. I think is this the first 2-pointer the Batman crew have scored, because almost every card they've scored so far is a 3-pointer, which is really good. Raptor activated and moved himself right up into the corner here. Now technically, because he's on the tactical curtain there, Sierra can see him, but if he wasn't on that curtain and just standing normal, that rock is actually big enough that he would not be seen. So we're going to count it as that, because tactical curtain should not affect objective cards, and as a result he's also scoring a can be anyone, so that's both of them scored. Harvey activated without audacity, but right next to Batman, walked down next to him in fact. So I can imagine he's being early insufferable right now as he chews on a donut, just like saying to him, hey, I guess we're both having a bite to eat tonight. Just a bunch of just awful puns just to get to Batman. But also thank you for the free inspired manipulate, which let him get rid of the suspect marker he would have been standing on to score a comb through everything. And I believe they're both out of range of the bomb, but we'll find out for sure at the end of the turn. So thanks to the various knockouts and arrests and what have you, we're already at the last activation of the turn for the Cobra Cult. It was the Nagus who moved up and put down a suspect marker, but that is not close enough to the corner of the table down here to count towards the Great Plan. Or Grand Plan, either way, does not count. So I think it's over to Officer Martinez to end off the turn. Yeah, it is. Oh, no, and Sierra. So this time with audacity, Officer Martinez wandered along here and has put down a suspect marker in a manner that means any further great plans are going to be harder to score, because that is within 8 of the corner down here. So the 10-inch movement on Sierra let them get over to Damien, standing basically on the suspect marker that Damien ended his turn next to, removed it, and scored another comb through everything. So that's going to take us to the scoring, and that means we're going to have to measure up everyone who's within 8 of this bomb, because it's going off. I think the only risky one is Damien. He might still be within range. So here's how things stand at the end of the penultimate round, and unfortunately did mismeasure slightly with poor Damien, and he did get caught by the Cobra viral bomb. So did Jeffrey, and so did the Cobra bestowed, so they also took 2 blood each, and it is 2 blood. Let's just check the card, because it did score because it hit Damien. Yeah, it's 2 blood, so that does score for 3, and what's worse is Damien failed his poison roll, so he took 1 more blood and he's dead. That is him. He only has 5 HP, so he is gone. No other cards scored on that though. Of the cards in play, because no other new ones were played, the Great Plan does not score, and the loot stays in play on the Nagus. So I think that covers everything. No additional cards being played for Batman. He and Bullock were just outside of the 8 inches. The bomb and the event markers would disappear now, and we're going into the final turn. Dawn of the final day, the top of the final round, and everyone who's on the table and conscious has audacity. The Cobra bestowed did not wake up. I think I forgot to cover that. There is 2 cards being played. One by the Batman crew. It's a phase 1. It's their Die Hard. It came out of the hand just in time, and it's being played on Harvey Bullock because he's got a vampire protecting him, so he's pretty okay. And I believe he's out of Jeffrey's threat range anyway. Another Great Plan is being put into play for the Cobra Cult as well, and the loot is still in play for them as well. It's too late for the Batman crew to make use of their loot card because it didn't appear in time. Either way, everyone's got audacity, so with that we're just able to jump in for the last minute grasp for points. Not a super bombastic final turn for Red Rain Batman, although he is a massive deterrent even if he's not physically devouring someone per turn. But he moved up and he is removing that enemy suspect marker right there next to the Cobra bestowed in order to follow the clues, because despite being a vampire he does have detective. Reveal an enemy suspect marker at least 10 inches away from the board edge with a model who is a detective. Well, there isn't a lot of opportunities for the Cobra Cult to set up any scoring, but Raptor activated, went on over to Sierra and put down a suspect marker next to them. Didn't do anything else with his turn. He hasn't really done much, unfortunately, because he had to run away from Vampire Batman early on. Officer Martinez walked just 4 inches away from the suspect marker he put down last turn, again making the Great Plan basically impossible to score, and also putting down a snitch. So denying points and scoring your own potentially, because I don't think anyone can get down there, so it's almost a given, or it is a given, is basically the best turn he could possibly have. So we're not going to see a Vampire and Jeffrey showdown, because Jeffrey walked over to Sierra and used his reinforced gloves again, and was still under the -1 from the Vampire Batman, because he's over there. But still managed to do enough that Sierra is unconscious, won't be getting a turn, and as a result he could score new followers. An enemy model suffers KO within 4 of one of your suspects, then remove one of these suspects. So that's why Raptor went first to get that there, so it has to get removed, but they did score the card off the back of it. So there isn't really anything else that the Batman crew can do. Harvey activated and is just hiding to guarantee the Die Hard. because there's no other way for him to get anywhere to score a card. If he could get round the truck, he could maybe have taken a shot and scored a non-lethal ammo, but it would have put him in danger, so not worth it. So it's just over to the Cobra Cult basically. If who's even left for them, the Nagus or the Lancehead down here, if either of them can do anything that will result in a score. Well, there's one more play for the Cobra Cult. It does not matter which one of these two do it because they both have Audacity. One of them just simply needs to move to and remove this suspect marker that was the original snitch in turn 1 to score their confusion because it came back into hand, and score that for 2. And that's going to take us to the end of the game. So we'll go to the cleanup phase now to cover the cards that were already in play. So at the end of the game, the Batman crew score their diehard. Harvey has finished consuming coffee and donuts without being harmed, and the snitch that Officer Martinez put down has also scored. I feel like that was a pretty effective Batman list, although we haven't seen the final score yet. For the Cobra Cult, the great plan, Officer Martinez denied that. So even if the Nagus had gone and put one down, that would have been 2 versus 1, so no score. But he did hold on to the loot, so the loot scores for 3. Very interested to see the final scores because the Batman crew scored a lot of 3-pointers. Let's go see what it is. Well, here is the 2 decks. Let's start with the Cobra Cult. So that's 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Very healthy, 26. Plays 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. They only lost by 4. That was a pretty close game, and the Batman crew got really lucky with just a string of 3-pointer scores. And the cards left over for the Cobra Cult made it very difficult with their dwindled numbers to do anything about it. The Batman crew, if they'd been over that end of the table to do some stuff with suspect markers, they might have scored a bit more. But they did well. I think, as I say, I think that was a pretty good list. So that is going to do it for this time. I sincerely hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and if you would like to help support what we do on the channel here, including this game, please do consider checking out the Patreon or pressing the thanks button. It all gets reinvested in the channel. But thank you either way. Hope you enjoyed, and see you next time for more. Until then, ta-ta for now.